We had started with the revision of the 9th chapter, simple interest and compound interest. And last class we saw the concept, okay, what is simple interest and compound interest, how it works, what's the difference between them. We saw all of that. We tried out some questions on what? On the simple interest, okay? And today we are going to try out some questions on the compound interest. All right. So let's try out one question, okay, in which we have principal. This is the compound interest. Principal 7,000. Rate we have 10%. Time we have 1 year. 1 year. Compounded half yearly. Compounded half yearly. So first we calculate the amount, okay, A. Formula for that, amount equals to principal 1 plus R by 2 by 100 raised to the power 2n. Okay, why? Because compounding is being done half yearly. Okay, compounding is being done half yearly. Put the values 7,000, 1 plus 10 by 2, okay, becomes 5 by 100 raised to the power 2n, means 2 into 1. I get 2 into 1, that is 2. Okay. Now, let's solve this. 7,000. Take the LCM of 1 plus 5 by 100. 105. Cancel. Okay. Now expand. 7,000 into 21 by 20 into 21 by 20. Okay. Multiply times. Now multiply them and find the amount. Solve this and try to find the amount. And Samyan, can I have your videos on? $7,707.5 million, and we'll divide 15,435 by 2. Okay, now amount I've got. Now I'll find CI, which is amount minus principal. Okay, amount is how much? 7,717.5 minus 7,000 is my principal. Okay, subtract it. We'll directly deduct 7,000. We will be left with 717.5. Okay, my CI, compound interest. All right. I did one question with you all from the half yearly, from compounded half yearly. Okay, I need you all to try out one question from annually and one from quarterly as well. Okay, today after class, whenever you find time, try out one question for annually and quarterly as well. Okay. Any doubts till here? Yes,
Ma'am,
Andre? Yes.
ma'am, half yearly is the most common compounding, ma'am.
Half yearly is most common compounding. Yes, we can say that. It's quite a common compounding. Annually, also people do commonly. Annually is also a common compounding. Now, next, one second. Shall I clear the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, next, like I said, sometimes we have missing values when some things are given and some things are not given. Suppose in this question, we'll be given the amount, okay, principal and time period, but we will have to calculate the R, okay, we'll have to calculate the R. You can write this question down. At a certain rate of interest, at a certain rate of interest, the principal 64 becomes rupees 125 after 1.5 years. After 1.5 years, when interest is compounded half yearly. Interest is compounded half yearly. Find the annual rate of interest. ROI means rate of interest. Okay. Now, again, we will use the amount formula. Okay, that is A is equals to principal. Okay, 1 plus R by 100 raised to the power N. Okay, this is the formula, the basic formula. Okay, now R by 2 we are not putting right now. Okay, because we don't
Yes,
know.
you answered 25%.
Yes, Anna, the answer is 25%. That is right. Okay, so put the values. Amount is 125. Principal 64. 1 plus R by 100 Power becomes 3y, 1.5 by 2, 1.5 by 2, okay? Sorry, 1.5 into 2, okay? Since this is compounding half yearly, all right. Now, you take this 125 on the side, sorry, 64 on the side, 125 by 64 equals to, we have 1 plus r by 100 power of 3. Okay. Can we find the cube root of 125 and 64?
Ma'am,
Yes, we can.
5 and 4.
Yes, Edric, that's right. 5 by 4 cube equals to 1 plus r by 100, r by 100 cube. Okay. Now cube and cube cancels. Okay. Cube and cube cancels. So we have pi by 4 equals to 1 plus r by 100. Okay. Now we will solve this. 5 by 4, 1 is a number. Okay. So we will bring it here on this side. On that side, we'll have r by 100. Okay. All right. 5 by 4 minus 1 equals to r by 100. Right, so y'all can do an LCM. Okay, we'll be left with 1 by 4 equals to r by 100. Okay, cross multiply. 4r equals to 100. R will be 100 by 4. R 25%. Now there is one very important thing. Okay, one very important thing that we have to keep in mind. What is that? See, R right now, we calculated this R for 6 months. Okay. Why? Because compounding is being done half yearly. Okay, so we calculated this 25 half yearly. 25 is the rate of the 6-month period. Okay. But question says find the annual rate. Find the annual rate. Okay, so we have the rate for 6 months. This is the rate for 6 months. We will find the annual R equals to 25 by 2, 25 into 2, that is 50%. Okay, for the whole year we have 50%. Hope this is clear to you all. Hope this part is clear. So even if you are having the compounding quarterly or anyway, if we have quarterly at the end on this step, we will multiply with 4, okay? Because when we are calculating on quarterly basis, we will obtain the rate that is only for 3-month period. Okay, but question might ask you the rate for the whole year. Okay, so multiply that rate with 4 when you have quarterly. Okay, here we had half yearly multiplied by 2. When we have quarterly multiplied by 4. Okay. Okay. So we did one question on R. Let me see a question on time period. Okay. Okay. Shall I clear the screen now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we saw how to find the rate. Okay. Now let's see how are we going to find the time period. How are we going to find the time period? Which question shall we try? Okay, let's try out this one. In what period write this down. In what period at the rate of 10%, at the rate of 10%, yearly, the principal rupees 800, the principal rupees 800 becomes rupees 926.10 when the interest is compounded half yearly.
Ma'am, is it 1.5 years?
Yes, Cedric, 1.5 years. Okay. Now we have amount 926.10. Okay, principal 8,000, rate is 10, which becomes 5 because it's half yearly. Okay, so put the formula A equals to P 1 plus R by 2 by 100 raised to the power N, because we don't know the N. Okay, so amount is how much? 926.1 by 10, because I removed the point, equals to 800. 1 plus 5. Okay, rate 10 by 2, that is 5 n. Okay, now like I said, this and this we can cross multiply. Okay, so it becomes 9261 by 8,000 equals to 1 plus 5 by 100, 1 plus 5 by 100 to the power of n. Okay, now 9261 and 8,000 are cubic numbers. Okay, we can find out its cube roots.
Ma'am, 21
Okay.
and 20.
Yes, Cedric. 21 by 20 raised to the power 3. Okay, and when we solve 1 plus 5 by 100, what we get? We get 105 by 100. And then when we solve it, what we get? 21 by 20. Okay, so this 21 by 20, I can put a cube root in it. Okay, because it's same as my left hand side. 21 by 20 cube equals to 21 by 20 cube. Okay, so n equals to 3.
1.5 cube.
Yes. Now, for half yearly, it becomes, that is 1.5 year. Okay, 1.5 years. Now, who gets clear how to find out the time period? Okay, how to find out the time period? Hope that's clear. Yes, Edric?
And these questions are so easy for me.
Yeah, okay. All right. So then practice some more today. Okay. We saw when how to calculate the R, okay, how to calculate the N, okay. Principal is also calculated in the compound interest, okay. Principal can also be calculated and it is simple, quite simple. Let's see one question where we have to calculate the principal.
And ma'am, still writing this down.
So writing, okay, write it down. Written?
Almost from scale.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, let's see a question where we have to find out the principal. Okay. Find the principal which becomes rupees 3630 after 2 years with 10% annual rate of interest, 10% annual rate of interest when interest is compounded annually.
Ma'am, is it 3,000?
Yes, Cedric, it's 3,000. Okay, now put the amount formula. Then put the values. Then solve it. Multiply. Now we will take the P on the left side and bring 3630 to the right side. Okay, this is that step.
I'm
P is equal. Yes, Cedric.
reciprocal.
Yes, reciprocal we do. Okay. Now you can cancel and find out the answer. Hope it's clear now. Today we saw to calculate the amount and CI. Okay. Then to calculate the rate, to calculate the time. This is R, N, and principal. That is P. Okay. We saw to calculate all these four things. Tomorrow we'll wrap this up. Okay, this chapter, and we will see. We'll try out question to find out the difference between the compound interest and simple interest. Okay, those questions we'll try out from the last exercise, and when those are given, we have to find the principal. How do we do it then? That also we will see. Okay. So those things we are going to try tomorrow. Okay. Please start. Hope you all have started preparing for the half yearly exam. All right. Please prepare and do it well. Okay. So that's it for the math class today. Have you all copied this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other doubt? Any questions?
Ma'am said tomorrow we will also cover difference between CI and SI.
Yes, that we'll cover it tomorrow. The difference between CI and SI.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that's it for the math class today. A 5 minutes break and then we'll start with science. Okay. Edric and I see you all tomorrow. Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Bye. Yes, Simeon, hope you're there.
Yes.
Okay. Video on, please. Okay, now the fourth chapter. Okay, biological processes. One will do its revision. Okay, mainly in this chapter, we'll talk about respiration, circulation, and excretion. Okay, now the first thing is respiration. Okay, respiration is the process that takes place inside of us. Okay, when we breathe in the oxygen and when we breathe out the carbon dioxide. Okay, now breathing, basically the breathing process that we do. Okay, to produce energy in our body. Okay, and we know that energy is important to stay alive. All right. Now, oxygen, if we talk about, is an important gas for producing energy in the form of food. What happens? The energy accumulated in food is released only when it burns in oxygen gas found in the air. That is when it reacts with it. Food, along with energy, carbon dioxide, and water, are also formed in this reaction. Okay, the process of formation of energy from food is called respiration. Okay, now carbon dioxide and what when Food burns in the presence of oxygen gas. Okay, it reacts with it. Energy is produced, CO2 and water are also formed. Okay, so energy is produced from food. This is known as respiration. Food plus oxygen gives carbon dioxide, water, and energy. Okay, now if all the living organisms respire day and night, inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide, then why is it that all the oxygen of air is not exhausted and it is not completely filled with carbon dioxide? Okay, why? Because the plants undergo an important process known as photosynthesis. Okay, they take water from the soil and oxygen from the air, convert it into the food presence of sunlight. Now we know that plants take in the CO2 and release the oxygen. Okay, they produce the oxygen which is released in the environment, which helps to maintain the balance of carbon dioxide and oxygen in the air. Okay, now process of respiration in human body, okay, can be divided into two parts: the breathing process and the process of conversion of food to energy. Okay, now the breathing process. Okay, so our body constantly receives oxygen through breathing. Okay, then how do we respire? How does this takes place? So generally we breathe through our nostrils. Air is taken in through the nostrils. Okay, then it passes through our respiratory tube, in the body, and then it reaches the lungs. Okay, now lungs is a soft part of the body. Last chapter you have read that our lungs are protected by rib cage. Okay, we know that lungs, the outer portion of like the lungs, they are protected by bone structure. Okay, a structure made up of bones, that is the rib cage. It comprises of the vertebral column in the back and of the chest bone at the front. Okay, and both these bones are connected by ribs on either side. Base of this cage is made up of a layer of muscles which is known as diaphragm. Okay, this is the diaphragm in red. Okay, and this is the rib cage. This whole thing. Okay, this whole thing is the rib cage. Okay, and the bottom layer is the diaphragm. Okay, now this diaphragm, it keeps on moving up and down. Okay, so what happens? The size of the lungs increases with the downward movement of diaphragm. Okay, and the outward movement of ribs. When we have the downward movement of diaphragm, we have the outward movement of ribs. What happens? This decreases the pressure of air inside the lungs. Okay, due to this low pressure of air inside the lungs and high pressure of air outside, air outside enters the lungs. Okay, air outside enters the lung. This is called taking in of breath or inspiration. Okay, all right, inspiration. Okay, so hope you got it. Downward movement of diaphragm and the outward movement of the ribs. This decreases the pressure of air inside the lungs. Okay, now there is low pressure inside us and the high pressure of the air outside, due to which the air inside us enters the lungs. Okay, this is known as inspiration. Now, on
Is there
return
a
to,
word for breathing out? Okay, it's written there, expiration.
is there a word for what?
Breathing out, I was thinking, and then I saw it's written
Breathing
there,
out.
expiration.
Yes. Breathing in, it is basically Simeon. Okay. Inspiration is breathing in. Okay, you can say expiration is breathing out. Okay. Now, on return of diaphragm to its normal position and the inward movement of ribs, the size of the lung decreases and the pressure of air inside the lung increases. The pressure of air being higher in the lungs than on the outside causes the air from inside the lungs to come out. Okay, this is known as expiration. Okay, can you see the like area a little above the stomach rises and falls when we are breathing, or mostly when people are sleeping, lying still, and that area rises and falls? That is the expansion and contraction of the diaphragm. Okay, which happens at that moment, even when we are sleeping, the inspiration and expiration is happening inside us. Okay. So now, then we have the process of carrying oxygen to blood by the air. Okay. Now, we have alveoli, okay, which is responsible for this. Now, the way in which the grapes are attached to the branches, similarly, many alveoli are attached to the branches of bronchi in the lungs. Okay. These alveoli are round and are surrounded by blood vessels. Okay, these are round and are surrounded by blood vessels. Okay, the exchange of gases takes place inside the alveoli. Okay, gaseous exchange takes place inside them. This is the gaseous exchange diagram. Okay, now the air entering the lungs contains more oxygen. When this air reaches the alveoli, the blood absorbs the molecules of oxygen and releases the carbon dioxide molecules. Okay, the air reaches the alveoli, blood absorbs the molecules of oxygen, releases the carbon dioxide molecules, which it brings with itself. In this manner, more carbon dioxide is present in the air being breathed out. Okay, the blood takes oxygen from the lungs and return it to the heart. The heart sends this blood to all the organs of the body to supply oxygen and food. Okay, this is the process how the gaseous exchange takes place in the alveoli. Okay, and how the this oxygen reaches all parts of the body through the blood. Okay, now the process of converting food to energy in the cells. Now, what happens? The food after digestion gets converted to glucose, and this glucose reacts with oxygen inside the cell. This reaction, when it happens, produces carbon dioxide, water, and energy. This carbon dioxide is returned to the lungs by being carried by the blood. This is known as cellular respiration. Cellular respiration. Okay. Food and oxygen reacts together combined and release CO2, water, and energy. Okay. And the CO2 is returned to the lungs by being carried by the blood. Okay. All this process is known as cellular respiration. Now, the energy produced by respiration keeps our body warm. With its help, our body is able to perform various functions. Okay. To learn that carbon dioxide and water released during respiration. Okay, experimentations are there. All right. Now, there is a respiration which can take place even without oxygen. Okay, this is known as anaerobic respiration, a respiration which happens without oxygen. Now, there are some animals which can respire without oxygen, example, yeast. Okay, so in this process, what happens? Glucose molecules break down into alcohol, carbon dioxide, and a small amount of energy. Okay, glucose particles break down into alcohol, CO2, and little energy. Okay, so sometimes, we've talked about this, sometimes this anaerobic respiration also takes place inside our body. When we run very fast, we or do a lot of exercise or cycle, our body suddenly needs large amount of energy. In such cases, when the amount of oxygen falls short, body in itself performs anaerobic respiration for a little while. Okay, lactic acid is formed in the muscles of the organ, which has performed work during anaerobic respiration by the organ. Okay, so we sometimes feel this tingling sensation due to the formation of lactic acid. Okay, but then it later subsides. Okay, when we massage it or when we give it a hot fermentation. Okay, so this is about the anaerobic respiration. Now, respiration also takes place in other organisms. Okay, most animals use lungs for respiration. okay, such as cow, buffalo, dog, cat, goat, lion, birds, alligator, frog, and all. They use their lungs, but many animals are there which respire through the skin. Okay, no, now that skin has special pores found, um, or special pores found in their body. Okay, or by gill slits. Okay, now earthworms absorb oxygen from the air by their skin and release carbon dioxide in the air through it. But to breathe, the skin of earthworm should be moist. Okay, this is the reason that earthworms die in the sun and hide inside the moist soil to keep themselves moist. Okay, salamanders also breathe through their skin. Okay, but frogs also can breathe through their skin. Generally, they breathe through lungs, but they can breathe through the skin also. Now, insects such as cockroach have characteristic tubules for breathing. Now, these tubules are known as trachea. Okay, these are known as trachea. A network of it is spread all over their body. Okay, now these tubes open on the surface of the body known as spiracles. Okay, surface on the body known as spiracles. Okay, and trachea is there. All right, so all the cells of the body take oxygen from the air present in the network and release carbon dioxide in the air. Okay, this air comes out of the body through the spiracles and new oxygen rich air again enters the body. Okay, like in the trachea, the air goes, okay, the carbon dioxide and comes out from the spiracles. From the spiracles, it enters, and through the trachea, it goes in all the parts of the cockroach's body. Okay, so this is breathing through special opening. Then we know that the fish breathe through gill slits. Okay, they have this feature for breathing that is known as gills. Okay, or gill slits. All right, has a lot of blood vessels and passes through the gill slits. Okay, now do plants also breathe? We can say in their cells also, food particles in the presence of oxygen break down to form CO2, water, and energy. The photosynthesis process, which means that plants also need oxygen. All parts of the plant take oxygen from the air. Roots also need oxygen. They take oxygen from the air trapped within the soil particles. That is why plants should not be watered too much. Okay, as then the water takes the place of air in the soil. That is why people hoe the soil, okay? Then we have next the circulatory system. Okay, circulatory system. What's the meaning of circulatory? Okay, circulation means transporting something from one place to another, or basically a circulation means the circulation of something, okay, around a particular, in a particular area. Okay, so in respiration, we have read that the blood flowing through our body carries digested food and oxygen to the cells so that respiration can take place and energy is produced. Now, blood is that liquid in our body that connects all the organs of our body. Okay, the liquid part of the blood is known as plasma. Now, this plasma has three types of blood cells: RBC, WBC, and platelets. Red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. Red blood cells are the most abundant in blood. Okay, it contains hemoglobin. Okay, this hemoglobin attaches itself to oxygen and carries it to various cells of the body. Okay, if hemoglobin count or hemoglobin content of the body becomes less, then the cells receive less oxygen and less amount of energy is produced. So the man will feel weak and will become tired quickly. When people say that we feel weakness or people get tired easily, that may be a sign of like lack of hemoglobin in them. Okay, or the lack of the RBC in them. Okay, because since the hemoglobin is lesser, the RBC is lesser, the transportation of oxygen to the cells of the body will be reduced. Okay, and then again, the cells, if the cells do not have oxygen, then how will they produce the energy? Energy will not be produced, which will make the person feel weak. Okay, Now, for this, the production of hemoglobin iron is necessary in the body. Due to the deficiency of iron in hemoglobin, production decreases and man experiences weakness and fatigue. This condition is called anemia. If you've heard the condition anemia, okay. Now, white blood cells. These are the soldiers of our body, okay. We know that they destroy the disease-causing microorganisms entering our body. And whenever we are hurt, the blood flows from our body. What do the platelets do? They form a clot and stop this blood flow. Okay, these are all the uses of all the three of them, why they are important in our body. Okay, these are the components of our blood. Now we have blood vessels. Blood vessels. Now, the blood in our body flows through blood vessels, okay, which are tube-like structures. These blood vessels are of three types. We have arteries, veins, and capillaries. Okay, now arteries, they carry the blood from heart to different parts of the body, okay, from the heart to different parts of the body. Now, their walls are thick and elastic because the blood flowing in these is under high pressure. The amount of oxygen in the blood of arteries is high. Okay, so exception is the pulmonary artery, which carries blood to the lungs. Okay, pulmonary artery carries blood to the lungs in low pressure. Okay, but the rest, when the heart is pumping the blood, okay, the arteries which are connected to different parts of our body, the blood from the heart is pumped into them at a very high pressure. There, those are the blood is high in oxygen, okay, oxygen content. And since this blood is coming in high pressure, the walls of these arteries is thick, okay. But exception is the pulmonary artery, which carry the blood to the lungs. Then we have the veins, okay. Now these vessels collect blood from various parts of the body and brings it towards the heart, okay, to be like oxygenated and to be pumped back to the body. Okay, it brings the blood from various parts of the body, take it towards the heart. Okay, now this is less pressure, so the walls are thin, and they contain the walls to prevent the backflow of the blood. Okay, once the blood is formed, okay, this way this wall will close. Okay, why? So that the blood doesn't flow back. Okay, now the amount of oxygen in the blood flowing through the veins is low. This blood that flows through the veins is low in oxygen. Okay. Next, we have the capillaries. Now, these are formed of a single layer of cells through which exchange of materials to other cells take place. Okay, small arteries branch into many capillaries in the tissue of the body, and then these capillaries rejoin to form veins. Okay, small arteries together form capillary, and capillaries join together to form the veins. Okay. Then we have the heart. Okay, so heart is a pump in our body, okay, which pumps the blood in our body, okay, in all parts of our body, and heart goes on till we die, okay, till our death. The heart functions. Now we know that the heart of a man is situated in the chest between the two lungs. This organ lies safe within a box-like structure of ribs and the vertebral column. Okay, the heart is also protected by the ribs and the vertebral column. Okay, the shape of the heart is somewhat like that of a fist, like our fist. It is made up of 4 chambers. Okay, we know that the heart is made up of 4 chambers. We have 2 upper chambers that are called auracle. Okay, 2 upper chambers that are called auracle, and the 2 lower chambers called ventricles. Okay, these 2 portions are known as auracle, and these portions are known as ventricles. Okay, now the auricles and the ventricles are connected to each other through walls so that the blood can flow from auricles to ventricles, but the blood from the ventricles cannot flow back to the auricles. Okay, connected to walls. Okay, the work of bringing the blood to the heart is done by the 2 vena cava, and the pulmonary veins that of taking away the blood from the heart is done by the aorta and the pulmonary artery. Okay, can you see these two bring the blood to the heart, and these and this, it pumps the blood. Okay, it pumps the blood to the rest of our body. Okay, now how does the heart works? The veins coming from the upper and lower parts of the body join and form the vena cava. Okay, can you see the vena cava here? Okay, now the vena cava open in the right auricle of the heart. Okay, pulmonary veins bring oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left auricle. The vena cava and the pulmonary veins bring the blood to the heart at the same time. The auricles and the ventricles contract and relax alternatively, so this pushes the blood. Okay. One cycle of contraction and relaxation of both the auricles and ventricles is called a beat. Okay, a heartbeat. Now, the heart of a human beats 72 times in 1 minute. Now, you can imagine how it beats like 72 times in a minute. So, the blood keeps pushing forward. Okay, the blood keeps moving forward through this contraction and relaxation. Okay, now the blood sent by the heart to the arteries is accompanied by a jerk and exerts a pressure on the arterial walls. This is called blood pressure. Okay, we can feel this pressure in our arteries. So this like when the blood sent to the arteries is accompanied with a jerk, okay, exerts pressure on the arterial wall, it is known as blood pressure. All right. Now it can be felt quite well in the wrist. Okay, if we have the wrist, okay, and we like press one vein and keep it pressed for like some seconds, we'll feel the beat. Okay, we'll feel the beat, so that is known as pulse rate. Okay, and it can be felt 72 times in 1 minute. Why? Because the heart is beating 72 times in 1 minute. People do you know that when people check if someone is dead or not, they either feel the wrist, okay, or they feel it from the neck, okay, the vein. So what they are feeling an artery, okay, and they are feeling the beat, that is if it is there or not, okay, or the pulse rate, if it is there or not. Already they try to feel it, but when it's not there, okay, it means that the person is not there. Okay, then hope you're understanding, Simeon. If there's any doubt in between in anything, just ask me. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, then we have the excretory system in man. Okay, now we know that the waste that is formed in our body needs to come out. Okay, because it cannot be, since it is waste, it's essential that it comes out of our body. Okay, so many substances are formed due to these reactions, which are waste and essential to remove from the body. Okay, or it will cause poisonous effect in our body. Now, the process of removal of waste substances from our body, that process is known as excretion. Now, the blood collects the waste substances from all cells of the body. Out of these, carbon dioxide is taken into the lungs and is excreted through breath. For the removal of other soluble substances in the body, a specialized system, an excretory system is there. Okay. Now, what are the main parts of an excretory system? Kidney, ureter, and urinary bladder. Okay. Now, kidneys are shaped like, how do the kidneys sieve? Yes, Simeon. How do the kidneys sieve blood? Okay, so there is a process goes on in the kidney that basically sieves the like urine. One second. and the blood, the kidney, the kidney filters the blood. Okay, so in the kidney, if you look closely at a kidney structure, the internal structure of a kidney, we have like a particular structure is there. Okay, that is known as nephrons. Okay, which are tiny filtering units that act as sieves in the kidney. Okay, so the first part of this nephron, okay, is a cluster of tiny blood vessels that acts as a sieve to filter the blood. Okay, that acts as a sieve to filter the blood. Okay, its thin walls allow the smaller molecules like waste and fluid to pass into the tubule, but larger molecules like proteins and blood cells, they stay in the blood vessel. Okay, then the second part known as tubule of the nephron. Okay, nephron is the main structure. Shall I show you an image from it? 1 second. This is the nephron. Okay, this is the nephron structure. Okay, and it has two parts. First part is glomerulus. Okay, and the second part is tubule. All right, so the first part that I'm talking about, glomerulus, okay, it is connected with the blood vessel. Okay, now what happens when the blood passes through it? Okay, it's a tiny cluster of blood vessels, okay, which acts as a sieve. So it holds back the larger molecules like protein and blood cells. Okay, the rest of it passes on. The rest of it passes on, okay, and then goes through tubule. Okay, this is the second part of the nephron structure. All right. So now the tubule returns needed substances to the blood and removes waste. The blood vessel that runs alongside the tubule reabsorbs most of the water, okay, along with the minerals and nutrients. So the remaining fluid and waste in the tubule, it becomes urine. Okay, the remaining waste that's left, it becomes urine. Okay, the kidney, if we talk about it on average, filters about 190 liters of blood every day. Okay, then the filtered blood exits the kidney through the renal vein. Can you see the green vein? The renal vein, and returns to the heart. Okay, returns to the heart. All right. Then we have the ureter. A ureter comes out from each kidney. They collect the urine from kidneys and take it to the urinary bladder. Okay, take it to the urinary bladder. Then the urine brought through the ureter is collected in this bag-like structure called urinary bladder. So this is the bladder, okay? When it gets filled up to a certain level, there is an urge to urinate. Urine passes through the urethra and is released out of the body, and the body is cleansed. Sometimes the kidney of a person stops working. So what happens when the kidney stops working? The excess of waste material in the blood becomes very harmful. If the blood is not filtered in time, then it leads to death. In such cases, blood is filtered through a machine. This process is called dialysis. Okay, the tube is attached to our body. Okay, and those tubes take in the machine, they take the unfiltered harmful blood, and then the purification of that blood filtration takes place inside the machine, and then the filtered blood is put back into the body. Okay, so that process is known as dilation. dialysis. Okay, that process is known as dialysis. All right. Now, some of the waste materials of our body are also removed through sweat. By sweating or respiration, the waste materials are removed from our body. Okay. And when evaporation of sweat takes place, skin becomes cool as well. Coordination we have. Okay. Let's see how much we can get done with, and then the rest we can continue tomorrow. All right, yes, transportation of substances in the plants. Now, most of the gaseous exchange we know takes place through the stomata that is present on the leaves of the plant. Other than this, the cells of roots, stems, etc., directly take oxygen from the air for respiration and release CO2 into the atmosphere. Now, plants have two types of vascular tissues, okay, for the transportation of food and water to various parts of the plant. Now, the xylem tissue. In plants, the fibers of the xylem tissue form a pipe-like structure from the roots up to the tip of the stem. Transportation of water to the upper parts of the plant takes place through this tissue. Okay. Now, phloem tissue. The cells of it is also pipe-like. They take food from the leaves and transport to all parts of the plant. Okay, xylem transports the water. Okay, and phloem transports the food. Okay, water keeps on evaporating in the form of vapor from the leaves of the plant. This process is called transpiration. Okay, transpiration. The continuous loss of water in the form of vapor creates a continuous low pressure, and to fill this gap, water is pulled out by the roots from the soil, and then the xylem transports it to all the upper parts of the plant. Okay, then we have coordination in human body. Okay. Now, what is coordination? Coordination is basically working together of different things, okay, or different people, okay, to like working together in sync, okay, working together in accordance with each other to do their function, to do the required function. That is coordination. Same thing happens in our body also, okay, coordination happens in us also. Now, there are two systems in which this coordination takes place. Those are nervous system and endocrine system. Okay. Now, nervous system. All the organs and functions of the body we know is controlled by nervous system, controlled by the nervous system. There are three main parts of the nervous system we have. Okay, brain, spinal cord, and nerves, which are formed by the organs by special types of cells, okay? And these cells are called nerve cells. Now, we have the brain. Brain, it's a very soft and important part of the body, okay, which is protected by a box made up of skull bones. The thick skin and hair covering the box also protect the brain. Its structure is like that of a walnut. See, the function is to think, understand, memorize, intercept the messages from the sense organs, understand them, and make the body perform the proper function, keep the body in balance, and to direct all the body organs to work in coordination. This is very important. Okay, this is a function of the brain. Okay, think, understand, memorize, intercept the messages from the sense organs, understand them, and make the body perform the proper function, keep the body in balance, and to direct the body organs to work together in coordination. Then we have the spinal cord. Okay, so this is a soft and cylindrical pipe-like structure that starts from the hindbrain and extends downwards to the vertebral column. Okay, hindbrain means the ending part of the brain, and then goes down to the vertebral column itself. The link between the brain and it is the link between the brain and the nerves. Some function of the body are performed by the spinal cord itself without the order of the brain. Okay, without the order of the brain. For example, taking hand off a hot griddle after accidentally touching it, swapping off of an insect as soon as it comes before the eyes, etc. Okay, So these functions are controlled by the spinal cord, not by the brain. And these functions are known as reflex actions. Okay, reflex actions, actions that we just do quickly. Okay, that happens within seconds. Those are not controlled by the brain, those are controlled by the spinal cord. Okay, and known as reflex actions. Now, third is nerves. We have two types of nerves, cranial nerves and spiral nerves. Cranial nerves, which receive the external stimulus through the sense organs and carry it to the brain, and we become aware that these are the external objects. Spinal nerves, they arise from the spinal cord and branch out into the whole body and control the involuntary function of our body. Okay, involuntary function of our body. All right. Then we have the endocrine system. Okay. Now, apart from the nervous system, we have endocrine system, which is made up of different glands. Okay, different glands which are useful for different kind of functions. Now, the main endocrine glands are pituitary gland. Okay, this is associated with the brain. Okay, controls all the other glands. So it is also known as the master gland. All the other glands. Hormones secreted by this gland control the growth of human beings. Okay. Next, we have thyroid gland. Okay, it's situated in the throat. Okay, situated in the throat and produces thyroid hormone, which controls the metabolic activities such as digestion, respiration, etc. Okay, iodine necessary for the production of this hormone. Due to the deficiency of iodine, thyroid gland increases in size, decreases goiter. This disease is called goiter. Okay, people have this neck, okay, fully swollen up, all right. This fully heavy and swollen up, kinda. That is why that is because the thyroid gland has increased in size. Why? Because deficiency of iodine is there. Okay, which makes this gland increase in size. Yes, Emil?
There's also a thymus gland, right? What does that do?
Can you repeat that?
There's also a thymus gland. What does that do? Because it's
Thymus.
mentioned in the diagram, but it's not mentioned in the glands, the listed
Okay.
glands.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yes. 1 second. So this thymus gland is its function is to train the special white blood cells, okay, which are known as T lymphocytes or T cells. Okay, so these white blood cells or lymphocytes travel from our bone marrow to our thymus. Okay, and its main function is this only, like to train the special white blood cells called T lymphocytes or T cells, okay, to fight some diseases, okay, to fight the diseases. That is the function of the thymus gland. Okay. Producing, it also like produces these special white blood cells known as T cells, okay, produce and train them to fight the diseases in us, all right, to fight the diseases inside us, all right. So that is the function of the thymus gland. Now, pancreas produces digestive juices, okay, and hormones. Insulin hormone secreted by this gland keeps the level of glucose in the blood in control. Amount of glucose increases in the blood due to the deficiency of this hormone. This decrease is called diabetes. Okay. Deficiency of this hormone leads to diabetes. Set above the kidney. The hormone secreted by this gland regulate the amount of salt in the blood, also controls the condition of excitement, anger, stress, etc. Then we have the glands, testes and ovaries. Okay. The ovarian female and the testis in male produce sex hormones. The estrogen is produced in the ovaries and testosterone produced in the testis. Okay, that we know. So with this, we have finished with the chapter. Okay, we've finished with the revision of this chapter. All right. Now today, go through it. Okay, at home, go through all the systems that we studied today. Okay, and if there's any doubt in any of the part, you can just ask me tomorrow why this happens, what's the function of this, anything you can ask me tomorrow. And tomorrow we are going to start with the 5th chapter. Okay, revision we'll do of a 5th chapter, that is biological processes to reproduction in animals. Okay, that's it for the class today. See you, Simeon.